Welcome. Goodbye, Toby. It's been nice. That's all I can ever hear when I hear that song now. Yeah, welcome. So I guess this is the decompression session. So a bit of a wrap up of the book, a kind of bit of a wrap up of what we like, what we didn't like, what was quite frankly, fucking mental. Yeah, and so, well, firstly, g'day, Reerg. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Is it a decompression session or a decomposition session? Because I feel one is more accurate.
Look, that's probably decomposition session is probably more accurate when it comes to this book. And yeah, so and thank you to Asbury Brad for the stream art for this one.
God.
um, and yeah, so what we yeah, we were just gonna have a bit of a chat about that kind of stuff. But what we thought would be really cool would be if anyone wants to jump on and join us for for as little or as long as you want it on the stream, just to kind of share your own thoughts. Because over the last few months going through this, Eel and I have shared what we think of this, but really keen to hear what everyone else thinks. So if you want to jump on, you don't have to jump on for long. You can hang around if you want to, but kind of just talk through maybe a favorite chapter, the things you like the most, the things you hated, just overall thoughts on the book. So if that is something you would like to do, I've pinned in the top of the chat, and it's also in the description. Um, my Skype and Discord. So if you just jump on there and write to me, we can bring you in onto the stream. Yeah,
What, am I
so
not enough for you, Cornville? What the hell are you
ab-
saying?
absolutely not. Well, it's more so that I think that now that you're a public figure, I don't know how long
That's right,
I'll be
yeah.
able to get you on these streams. So I need to
hmm
I need to look after my own interests.
Smart thinking.
So let's just say hello to everyone. So g'day, the Time Machine, and Rachel D, and the legendary Owl. Hi, sir. Asbury Brad. G'day, buddy. Lawns Wet Salad, Evil Little Big Nuggets, Spencer Silvera, Triy Tiggy, Sad Face 09, Logan W, Luna Flytrap. G'day, Luna Flytrap. Haven't seen that name before, so great to see you. Alison Marie Armstrong, hello to you, and Mandy S, and Vexy, g'day Vexy, and Egbert, and Jeff W, and Juniper, and the Cornville Nightmare. Hello to Anno Rourke, Edam Mame 417, La Senorita, and to VA Hoss, and some jealous basement dweller, and Duchess and Pussy Destroyer. G'day to you all. Um, yeah, so I guess what are your overall thoughts on the book?
Well, I fucking hate it. I mean, it's it's probably the most frustrating thing, like piece of content meant to be enjoyed I've ever taken in. It's like it it has the same qualities as a cat running across a piano. I think over the course of reading it, you and I got increasingly frustrated at how it would, just by virtue of sheer random chance, occasionally resemble like an actual story or a book, and then just go off in some crazy, nonsensical, unimportant direction. And it
hmm
was very frustrating to stay on any sort of track. What about you?
Yeah, look, I thought the same. Between that and the grammar overall, like that's what I felt myself just
Right.
stumbling over the words so much and the sentences so much, and then you'd have to go back and you'd be like, was that me? Like, did I stumble? And then yeah, like it was just there, you could not get any continuity throughout the whole thing, and there's just random thoughts everywhere. Like it was, and I mean this isn't a surprise, really, is it? But it was just very, very poorly written. Like it was,
Right.
um, yeah, it was incredible. And we do. I'm just going to try to get them on here. So we've got our first caller, who is, well, hang on a second. Let's see how this goes, and then we'll say hello to them. So, hello, Edam Mame.
Good day.
Good day to you. So, thank you for joining us. What I guess,
Absolutely.
yeah. What did you what were your thoughts on the book?
Yeah, so good day, everyone. So the book, I find that it echoes the same kind of hallmark brain bullshit that you hear in all of his calls, right? I mean, it's his fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's projecting this sort of like good old country boy, which of course he's not any. I love that he was tweaked, not as such, but this idea that like this guy could go and go abroad, and then Brooke is this wonderful woman, and of course, echoing mom,
Slight chunky.
and all this other
Slight
stuff.
chunky.
And it's just like, like the whole thing. I'm just like, you know what? This is such an echo of the projection that he has against all of these women that he so calls meets, and yeah, it's tough to get through. And just like listening to some of the streams, but also reading it, I'm just like, oh my god, like this dude's like pulling this out, thinking that it's like a fantastic literature and that he's really telling this fantastic, amazing story. And I'm just like, dude, no.
Yeah, and look, that is a really good point. I mean, because we both obviously felt that the book echoed Lorne, and essentially what Lorne wants to be, which is the key reason why we changed the names. But I think that's a good point. I hadn't really considered is that it did pick up all his hallmark bullshit, all his kind of virtual signaling through, kind of old midday movies, hallmark cards, that kind of shit. Like that's all in there. But to the extreme,
Well,
like it's like sorry, I'll just gonna say it's like everything with Lorne. Everything is on steroids. Like like every like for instance, every person, well, not maybe not every person, but most people love their mum. Yeah, like that's just. But he fucking loves her harder than anyone else. Like it's all that kind of shit with him. Yeah, you go, Will.
Yeah, that's like my
Yeah, no,
most frustrating
indeed.
thing
And
about
also,
this is
I mean, obviously, Lauren had spent some time in the military, which he didn't see combat or anything like that. And I've worked with combat veterans, and like the stuff that Lauren is talking about in this is like the fictional stuff, the stuff that you see in like movies, right? It's not actually how people might have reacted after that. Now, not to, again, I am the last person to defend Lauren in any capacity, but I don't know what he knows and who he's met or anything like that. But it's a very the whole thing is very fictionalized, right? It's very to what you were saying, that virtual signaling kind of. This is what he wants to project, and this is and maybe he wants this for himself, right? I mean, maybe he wants to appear as a hero, or he wants to appear as some honorable person who is, who has been
honorable
through
celebrity.
trauma, that deserves the girl, right? That, someone's going to say, oh, Lauren, you're so fantastic. Look at you. You served in the military and you're this, awesome person. And I'm just going to be hopelessly devoted to you. We hear this from a lot of the calls too, where, he's begging for them to tell him, something that validates his existence, right? And he just doesn't
Do
get it.
you
And maybe
care
the
about
book
me?
is his outlet for hopefully trying to project himself onto Aaron, right?
Exactly. And so, did you have and I use this loosely, but did you have a favorite moment in the book?
I mean, favorite moment? It's like, did you have a favorite moment watching the 9/11 videos in New York City?
Jesus
It's like,
Christ.
you,
Wow.
you really didn't,
Yep.
it's like, you're like, yeah, I watched it and it was, I get it, but I don't think I had a favorite moment in it, to be honest. I think all of it, like I said, I was just, and
Wait,
maybe
in the
because
book
I've
or the
been in
9/11
pornography
video?
for over 5 years now, so I'm used to this dude's bullshit. And so, like, going through it, and especially going through the streams, I'm just like, yep, more of his bullshit. I don't think that if I was coming at it from, like, somebody who didn't know who Lauren was, I might have a different viewpoint. But at this point, after watching probably like 2,000 hours of streams over my lifetime, I'm just like, my man.
Yep. Yep.
How
And
about you? What
so,
do you think?
um, Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of favourite moments. I guess Eel, did you have a favourite moment?
Um, I think their like first couple of dates.
His favorite
A favorite
moment
moment in the
was
book or 9/11?
Yep.
cheeseburger with no pickles.
And so I did realize I've just been making some notes of questions I want to ask everyone that jumps on. So I do realize that was on the stream for several minutes there. So
Mm.
at least I didn't show my desktop this time, I guess.
Although I guess if it's eel Reerg, if it's backwards, then it would be no cheeseburger with all pickles. Right?
just a just
Yeah,
a,
that's right. Exactly.
a big pot of pickles. Yeah, I know. I guess Edam Mame, I probably this will be more apt seeing how you answered before. What was the thing you hated the most about it, either in terms of in general, or was there a specific chapter or something that you just hated?
I mean, I guess it was the Aaron's sort of interaction with Brooke, right? I mean, like just because obviously we all know Lauren's a virgin, right? And we all know that he has not had any real meaningful relationship with anybody.
Mm.
So listening to him like forcibly talk about how people would interact with each other, I'm just like, it's just, I mean, like some of it, I will say some of it was readable, like reading through it, and I'm like, okay, like I can see this is not my favorite thing, but like it's not a disaster of a train wreck, not all of it, most of it, but yeah, just like and then also like the random stuff that happens where like, I think it was the like the description was like, in the end, justice was served in a twist of a death that Aaron did not ever foresee. And it's like, oh God, fuck me.
Well,
It's just like,
yeah,
dude,
exactly. And like that is it's just so over the top, but also like because that happens in the forward, like really, it gives you the whole rundown of the book. Like you could have read that first page and gone, "Cool, I know what happens in this book. I don't need to read any more." Like even though he tried to be a bit cryptic with it, like you could figure out pretty clearly what was going to happen. And like I understand trying to give a bit of a synopsis of what's going to happen in this book, but leave a little bit to surprise.
Yeah. And I think it would have been more valuable as well if just generally, like if Lauren had written about like his life. Like, you hear in some of the calls, like he talks about how he's been to all these states, right? Like almost every 50 states. I think that was in one of the Ramona calls, right? Like I would, and I mean, I don't want to like learn about his life because, he's an asshole and a pedophile, but like, it's, I think that would have been better than just like, like this fiction that he dreams up that's total projection.
Yep.
Also, can we just say that I'm on a website right now, booksamillion.com. I just happened to look this up. And Taken Abroad is being sold for $25 paperback.
$25.
Indeed. And it has 2.1 stars. And get this, it says this item is non-returnable. I wonder what happened to make them put that on there.
Yeah, but okay, so 2.1 stars. I mean, that has to be getting bought up by people ironically doing 5 stars on it. But also,
look at the reviews.
There are 30 reviews. So it's in 20 of them are 1-star reviews. So of course one has to understand that probably people in the community have gone and like review bombed this, right? Like they've like for example the most liked positive review is a 5-star review, and it says, "Are you anxious to read a great novel?"
But at like $25, even for Lord, that's ambitious. Like even for someone that routinely says they can make $100,000 if they wanted to, or puts high values on his time and expertise, $25 for this piece of shit is really ambitious.
Completely agree. And
also, Harry Potter books for like
we have to realize that $25 for Lauren is one day's cigarette budget.
Yes.
Right, so like it's not like he's making this money and banking it or giving it to Betty or paying back his mom or anything like that. Like no, this is fueling his ciggy and beer budget, right?
Yep.
But the most liked positive review, if I may continue, it says I took it everywhere with me. The karaoke bar, my trip to Kentucky, even to work when I was on the lull all day. I can't believe I stared at one passage for an hour. I must have really liked it to want to read it that much. The only negative is that I can't decide if I like Lord's characters more or his writing style more. Regardless, this novel is 407 pages of brilliance. Read it, why don't ya?
that is very good. And I'm just having a look because I think if we have time later in the stream, it might be fun to pull up some of these reviews to go through them. But the most liked negative review was, I would never buy this product. Inane pile of garbage. Don't buy this book, as you will be supporting a registered sex offender. I mean, you really missed any comedic opportunity there, reviewer. But that's a fair criticism.
I feel there also might be a little bit of an echo chamber too, because I think very few people are going to find this on their own. Right.
Yeah.
So like all of it is just this, and unfortunately, if Lauren had access to the internet and he were able to see this review, he would think that, because if he's stupid, right? So he would think that these people are actually legitimately reviewing it and that they would say, oh, well, like, and he would read through it and be like, oh, wow, trip to Kentucky. I lived in Kentucky once, or like, I like karaoke too, and so he wouldn't get it, right? That everyone's making fun of him. And even, I think it was Debbie in one of the calls was like, Lauren, people make fun of you and they regurgitate your chat log. He's like, yeah, well, brr, brr, brr. He doesn't know, which makes it even better because he thinks that everyone is supporting him and Sylvester Stallone and all these other people. But no, everyone's making fun of him. No one actually bought the book.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the final question I had was, and you probably did answer it anyway, but what would you have done to make this a better book? Like, I mean, probably outside of, just improving the grammar and actually proofreading it.
Light it on fire.
Perfect. Perfect.
Flush it down the toilet in prison when Lauren made it. No, I think having, so I do writing pretty much professionally. And
oh, wow.
Having like an actual editor who is willing to like sit down with the author and be like, listen, here's what you want. Like, here's what we think is best for your creative vision, right? So like self-publishing is difficult. And again, I mean, I hate commending Lauren because he's an asshole and I want to kick him in the balls. But, I mean, he did do this thing, right? He had nothing to do because fuck all, he's in prison. But like, he did do this thing, right? But like, if an actual editor were to be looking at this, it would be like, okay, here's how we can change it to like reflect reality, right? And you'd be like, well, yeah, well, that's like reality in Maine, but he would, but if I were professionally editing it, it would be like, let's try to enrich some of these scenes and change some of the language to reflect like what normal people talk about. Because if you're reading a book, right, or anything, you want to get lost in it, right? You want to have a level of appreciation for it that really goes beyond what the author is just the words on the paper, right? And I think a good editor can help you work through that. And so if I were editing it, I would say, getting rid of the tropes, getting rid of the Hallmark bullshit, Lauren has no experience in combat, so he can't talk about Aaron's experiences and that sort of thing. The whole sniper thing is like weird because it doesn't really happen. But like it, that kind of thing, like working through that and trying to build some stuff up, I think would probably be my suggestion. But
yeah, and there's some good points there. I just want and because that's the thing. Like, okay, look, Lauren has never. Lorne has never served, so like I mean, he was in the like the Air Force or whatever, but like as a technician, and I don't think he got very far there. But what I guess I'm trying to say is, I understand he doesn't have those experiences to draw on, and I mean, there'd be people that have written books that don't have experiences to draw on, and there'd be books that are written that are just kind of also not great. But what I don't get with Lorne is that he decided to do this, and I think some part of it must have been because probably he was bored in prison or whatever. I mean, I've always said I think a large part of this is he sometimes views this as some kind of redemption story. Like, see, everyone, even, patriotic, people serving in the army can, not mean to do it and can fuck up and can end up killing someone. Hey, and all I tried to do was fuck a kid, like, you know what I mean? And, I think there was some amount of kind of projection within there, but he had all this time. He could have researched to try to find out a bit more what it would be like to find out even, and I'm not saying go and, do a psychology degree so we can understand how all this would work, but just stick to kind of pop culture tropes on PTSD and all that kind of stuff, but just couldn't be asked. And that is our Lorne.
Absolutely. And also, can I just shout out Egbert Mandingo? I am not Winnie's boyfriend/husband. We perhaps sound the same, but I promise you, we're not the same person. But we won't be on the same stream. That was a concern. Yeah.
Well, that
was a concern in the stream. So I just want to call that out real quick.
So I mean, firstly, that is very harsh, Egbert. I expected better than you, but also I have never heard Edam Mame and Winnie's boyfriend/husband on the same stream. So
that's a good point.
I'm not saying they're the same person, but I've just never heard them at the same time.
I mean, scratching my chin right now. I don't know.
It really makes you think.
Well, listen, I am going to fuck off upstairs and let somebody else come on. But Cornville, thank you so much for having me on. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you for doing this. Of course, Cornville, as always, you are one of the most prolific chatters in this whole community now. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you all soon. I'll be around.
Thanks so much for jumping on. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Have a scoop of Vegemite for me.
See you, mate. Alrighty, so now, thank you, Edam Mame. We've got someone else that wants to jump on. So, assuming this connects properly. G'day, Triy Tiggy. Oh, you might just have to mute your speakers there, Triy.
Sorry, what was that, Connor?
Oh, I think you just have to mute your speakers because you're obviously watching the YouTube stream and it's kind of coming through your speakers on a delay there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that better?
That
awesome.
That is good. Welcome, Triy Tiggy. I detect a familiar accent there, mate.
Too right, mate. You do. Yeah. I'm another Aussie as well.
Oh God.
We're taking over.
That's it. We're making a name in the TCAP community now.
Thank you very much for coming on. How are you?
Mate, I'm doing pretty good. It's a beautiful sunny day in Queensland, and I'm loving it. It's been awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what were your overall thoughts of this masterpiece?
Oh God, where do I bloody start? Okay, so all right. I'll start up first by saying that I've been able to kind of pop in and out of the read of the whole book, but the problem is I haven't been able to really stomach it really well because just like there's a couple of veterans in the chat, and I'm actually one of them, and I find that like especially one of the funny things that's frustrating about this whole book is that Lorne wrote this book under the guise that he's going to try to donate part of his money towards the Wounded Warrior Project in terms of like PTSD awareness. But the funny thing is about this. G'day, Logan W. By the way, he just said hi to the chat. But Logan W. Sorry to kind of segue. Logan W. is another mate. He's another serviceman as well that I talked to in the chat, and we were both having a bit of a, we were both kind of, we were both kind of feeling the grind of what Vaughan says in the book, especially with PTSD, because in the book his PTSD is kind of very Hollywoodized, and it's kind of like, you know, Rambo loses his shit, goes and starts killing people, and it kind of, it actually does the polar opposite of what a book designed to bring PTSD awareness should do. The majority of diggers, and for those who don't know, diggers is the Australian term for soldiers. So soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and stuff like that. All of these individuals who experience PTSD, they don't always go and end up like killing their spouses and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a little bit more subtle. You know, they'll come to work and they'll be like, you can just feel something different with them, and it's hard to almost hard to talk about, but it's so subtle when it happens, and it's not always, basically what I'm trying to say is it's not always the case that you see in Hollywood where some guy just goes on a rampage. Sometimes, more often than not, the rampage is within the soldier themselves, or the airman, the sailor, the marine, digger. And oftentimes it leads to just a really dark place for these individuals. And it's so frustrating, like sometimes hearing especially in this book how he kind of he tries to, it's almost like he's trying to capitalize off both his military experience and PTSD, and then trying to, you know, kind of sell it. And it's very, it's funny because it's not like that. It's very different. And I'll be really interested to see if in that selling thing that you're saying, it's like there's money going towards the Wounded Warrior Project as well. So yeah. But I just wanted to say, especially with that one, especially for any of the veterans that are listening, and so with that, you know, that just to take a laugh out of it, you know, it's very much it's very much a classic Lorne move, you know, kind of you know, capitalizing off something, and, you know, I never even meant to do it, you know, kind of shit. Yeah. So it's like, I was talking to Logan W, and I was like, fuck, I really wish I could see the faces of the guys at Wounded Warrior Project when one's like, oh, but guys, I brought this book and I made it from scratch by myself, and I'm dedicating the money. Why don't you have a read? And then if they read it and then seeing how he navigates that topic, it would be
absolutely. And that's one of those things, like in Lorne's head, like you could see him playing out that he would write this book, it would sell heaps of copies, he would make heaps of money for Wounded Warrior Project, they'd probably get him in there and be like, you know, thank you so much, Mr. Armstrong, you know, this is, but like he would be completely, whereas like you say, if they read, and I did want to say I found it very interesting what you were saying there, because I've often thought, I mean, I've never served myself, but when reading this book, I thought, I do wonder what service people, you know, both active or you know, retired would think reading this, because I guess I thought they wouldn't think very highly of it, so it was very interesting to actually find out your take on it, because it really does feel like it's just taking their sacrifice and their service and trying to, you know, capitalize on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing as well, and we also mentioned this, me and Logan, the other thing that's interesting about this as well is that, like, the bloke himself is a serviceman. If you'd been in long enough, you'd see the shit that happens, right? It doesn't matter, and especially like the thing about PTSD as well, it doesn't matter whether you're frontline combat, you know, if you're infantry or you're, you know, in the rear echelon doing something like, you know, catering or something like that, or even band corps, you know, some of these individuals will still experience PTSD in some way, right? So you don't necessarily have to be on the front lines, but you'll see blokes, women and men going through depression, going through anxiety, going through PTSD, and you'd think that, you know, that Lorne's been in long enough to understand the sensitive nature of PTSD so much to like to have a better concept and better grasp of what goes on and how offensive that book, or like how, not so much offensive but more how much it damages the stereotype of PTSD and how to deal with someone with PTSD, you know.
Yeah, well, and it's you know, damaging to, you know, a lot of types of mental illness, and like, and even if you leave that behind, just the whole, and you know, Eel kind of commented on a lot through the book, is that he doesn't even seem to know what mental illness he's trying to describe that Aaron has, like, or that it, you know, it starts off as this kind of dissociative, you know, having blackouts and waking up not knowing what had happened and, you know, being covered in blood, to then just straight out full, you know, fully aware of what he's doing, you know, killing for the fun of it essentially. And then also right at the end, we just come back to him having dissociative states again. Like make up your fucking mind.
Exactly. It's funny. It's kind of classic. It's funny. You can kind of, if someone came up to me and was like, "Hey mate, I've got this book on PTSD. Some bloke, you know, wrote. You know, give it a read and tell me what you think." If I started reading it, and like I said, I've only kind of jumped in and out of the book and your guys' readings. If I started reading that book, I'd be like, fuck, you know, this sounds like something that character Lorne would write, you know?
Yes.
Because it's all over the place, and it's all, you know, even some of like, also the fact that he's like referring to Kayla as well. It's like, yeah, it's just part of me. So sorry, I'm kind of like, I've got like a million thoughts going all at once with this. But one of the things that also kind of makes me think, right, is like, he wrote this book when he was in prison. So part of me is like, you know, what's a way that I can go and milk sympathy points? What's a way that I can kind of like, you know, what's a way that I can kind of get in everyone's good books, or what's a way that I can get everyone's like off my ass? I know. I'll write a book about I'll write a book inspired by PTSD and military service, and I'll go and like collect some of the you know, some of the pay from that, and then give some of it to Wounded Warrior projects, and everyone will go and kiss my ass, and I'll be a hero again, you know. And I don't know, you can kind of see his reasoning behind it sometimes, and it's I don't know, it's in the military, there's especially in the army, we have a term for like individuals like Lorne who are rear echelon, that kind of talk big stories, and they try to melt points out of things that they didn't really experience. Pogues, essentially, it's essentially a guy who you know, just talks a lot of shit, and it just drives, like, just when they talk, as soon as they open their mouth, it just kind of makes you cringe and just die inside, you know. And it's Lorne to a T, really. Yep. It's
yeah, no. So I guess that's what probably well, actually no, I was going to say that's probably your least favorite moment, or that, like, but that probably falls under the what would you oh my god, what you would have changed. So in terms of maybe a scene or something from the book, did you have a least favorite one?
The least favorite one was the last one that I heard, where he's fighting with Kayla, because that was, I don't know, it was, one, it didn't make sense, but two, it's yeah, that's the last thing. If you wanted to go and bring awareness to PTSD, you don't want to go and make individuals who are suffering PTSD seem like these monsters that, are wife beaters and, going to kill their spouses and stuff. Like like I've heard of stories where guys have, lashed out and they've had moments and stuff, but the last thing you want to do is draw attention to that. You'd want to, and there's nothing romantic or glorifying in bringing that into any story. It's not even a key defining part of PTSD. It's if the story was more about, if it would have made the story like so much more realistic. If one was like, I served, I'm going to do a story about my time in the Air Force where I didn't do much. I spent maybe a year in. I got kicked out for because I wasn't fitting in or wasn't meshing, and then as a result, I went into a deep dark depression and did a whole bunch of fucked up things. Obviously not using that as an excuse to go and be like, oh, I never even meant to go to Kayla's house to go and thing, Yep. It's like, but like to be like, just be like, hey, look, and then saying like, this is the place, these are the dark places I was where I, where I felt like my life was worthless, or I felt like, what was the point? I failed as an airman, or I failed, stuff like that would have made a lot more. It would have been a lot more beneficial to the Wounded Warriors Project and to PTSD and to all these things. And people would probably, veterans would listen to this a little bit more and be like, yeah, okay, you don't have to be a Navy SEAL to experience PTSD or infantry to,
Yeah, well, and that is actually a really good point. And like Nuggy said in the chat before, Lorne probably thinks that PTSD is reserved to servicemen, which he probably does. But I mean, really, Lorne could have just talked about how he was feeling, because whether or not, it could be labelled as PTSD, but after, getting caught for what he got caught for on national TV and the fallout from that, he probably has, at the least probably has, like, you know what I mean? He would have, maybe not PTSD, that is pretty traumatic. Like, what, as he puts it, what happened to him, even though it was all self-inflicted, is pretty fucking traumatic.
Oh, too right. Can you imagine? Like, he would be going through some. Yeah, Lorne probably has PTSD. This probably explains why he's like perpetually drunken and he's in his trailer like, fucking Kayla, just going mental in the going thing. He's going, he's probably going through things. But even in terms of PTSD, like another interesting thing that, and I'm actually glad you brought it up, because a lot of the individuals in the TCAP community have probably experienced PTSD their own way. Just like you said, Nuggies pointed out and was like spot on. You don't have to be in the military to experience PTSD. If you a victim of child abuse or sexual predation, you're definitely going to be experiencing PTSD. In fact, that's the shit that you carry for life. So it's ironically, it's kind of it's funny. The whole book, the more you think about it, and the more you break it down, it's so ironic, that Lorne was going to commit an act that would have gone and caused Kayla PTSD, and here he is like, well, here's this book devoted to PTSD, and I'm going to go and it's
100%, and on that, like Logan W was just putting in the chat, like he actually didn't serve, but his PTSD comes from being a first responder, and the stuff. I think I was just skimming the chat, and I think he put specific examples there, but which that I've heard that is very common, because as first responders you see stuff that a lot of us couldn't even imagine, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. By the way, sorry by the way for the chat. Sorry if I've kind of communicated that wrong. But yeah, Logan, when I meant like veterans, I meant like veterans as well as like first responders and police. Because it's especially as a first responder, like poor bloke, you dealing with things like you deal things with death, gunshot wounds. You know, providing CPR to someone who passes away is never easy as well. So it's like it's just it's never just military. You know, it's police, law enforcement, and like Logan W. You know, yeah. As a first responder, yeah. Oh.
So it might be a hard question to answer, but did you have a favourite moment in the book?
Oh, I can't actually think of a favorite movie.
That's fair. I don't expect everyone to answer that.
Yeah, probably like the end, I guess. Like
yeah, it finally been over.
Yeah, when it's at the end of your probably it's like favorite point.
That is fair.
Yeah, I would you know, if I ever bought this book, it would be the most expensive toilet paper I've ever bought.
Well, at least it'd be useful for something then.
Exactly, you know, it'd have some purpose that way.
And Eel, did you have anything you wanted to ask Triggy? Is Eel still there? Is he falling asleep? He does this a lot. He just falls asleep.
Oh, it must be crazy late over there in the US though. What time is it over there?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be lovely if my co-host could join us, but I don't know what he's doing. So that's fine. Thanks for leaving me in the lurch there. But that's
the right see-through way. I'll just pull a Jesse.
Yep.
And me and you will take over. And then.
Well, I thought you were going to get your vibrator out. I thought that's what you meant when you were going to pull a Jesse.
I'll just use my Hitachi, and then Reerg will come back in and he'll pull nuggies on me and just be absolutely savage. So it'll be fucking mint, man. We got this.
All good. Well, actually, I'm just going to. I think Eel is apparently saying stuff, but it's not coming through. So I'll check that out. It might be technical difficulties on my side. But while I do that, what he was going to ask is, what would you change the title to?
Oh gosh. Oh, the potential. Other than Taken Abroad, how did you come up with the name Taken Abroad? By the way, is there any story behind that?
I don't know. I haven't heard the story behind that, and I've wondered that myself. But I don't think so. If you're back now, Eel, do you know if there's any? Did he ever give an explanation why he called it Taken Abroad?
Because he was taken abroad.
Still nothing heard.
Because he was taken abroad.
Oh, because he was taken abroad. Oh wait, so Eel is. I didn't hear Eel just then. Yeah. But...
Oh yeah, no, he said because he was taken abroad.
Oh, he was taken abroad. Oh, well, he could have said something like, "Isn't it fucking cunning?" or like.
Yeah.
It's like. Fucking bullshit moment, something like that, you know. Yeah.
No, very very good. Anything else you kind of wanted to add? I'm gonna get Little Miss Nuggies on here in a second.
Oh no, that's it. I've had my piece. I just wanted to go and really vent about it's like his portrayal of PTSD, and just to remind everyone in the chat, like. I was gonna say if I was just to leave on any note, I was gonna say like for those who are suffering from PTSD in the chat, talk. Honestly, the best thing you can do is just talk. Your mates will always be there for you no matter what. You know, no matter how dark you are, no matter the darkest thoughts you're going through, just reach out to one of your mates and just talk. And that this book is just, I'm sure it's almost infuriating. Like I know poor Logan W was feeling it. I was definitely feeling it. But yeah, the best thing you can do is just talk. And I was gonna say, I don't know if I could make a suggestion. There's a really good TED talk on PTSD by Richard Doss. I mentioned it earlier on in the chat, and I don't know if it's probably gone now, but if you ever in that dark spot, definitely recommend just either listening to someone talk about their struggle, like this TED talk by Richard Doss, or just reach out to a mate as best you can. Yeah, and that's it.
Fantastic, man. Well, thank you very much for jumping on.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
No, it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for sharing your perspective, man.
Oh, thanks again. I can hear you, Il. Thanks again, man.
Hey!
Bro, hey!
Yes, we got a three-way going.
Yeah!
Oh my god! It finally happened.
Finally. We've been doing this for months and finally got there.
Finally got a three-way happening. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks, lads. And honestly, before I leave as well, you guys had an awesome stream. Love your stuff. Yeah.
Thank you
And
very
also
much.
kudos to Reerg for the shit he's pulled lately is just absolutely phenomenal. Big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, buddy. Talk soon.
Cheers, guys. Ciao.
See you, mate. All right, so
Orville, can I do the transition?
yes,
Okay, so it's Evil Little McNuggets is up next.
that's right. All yours, buddy.
Okay, so now we're going from a very valued opinion to a totally unvalued opinion. Evil Little McNuggets.
Hello.
Hello.
Evil Little McNuggets, how's it going?
Hi.
Ooh, what?
You
So, did you
What did you think about the book, Evil Little McNuggets?
I think it is. I think it's a work of art. You know, I mean, the only other book I've ever read is Fahrenheit 9/11, so I don't have much to compare it to. But I think it was great.
Book. Great book.
you think it was great?
No, I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
Well, that is the first person we've had that has said that. That is very very interesting. And so, seeing it was so awesome. What was your favorite moment from the book?
It's awesome. My favorite moment from the book, I like when he first meets Brooke and he's describing her and he's like, she's slightly overweight.
Yes,
I
Slight
love
chunky.
that part.
a slight chunky. Wait, it was actually a guy. Did I remember it correctly? Was it a? It was a guy that his first male victim was a slight chunky, because he didn't call Brooke a slight chunky, did he?
Oh,
No, he called her like slightly overweight or
She's
something. I
slightly
don't think he
overweight.
used the word chunky with her.
Yep. But that was that was the thing that I liked, because we got such little description about anyone. Well, with the exception of the receptionist right at the very start of the book, because, the character that is in there for 10 seconds and handed him
Big
some
tits.
forms. Yeah, that's right. She had big tits. that-
Massive knockers.
But apart from that, the only description we really got was people's weight. Like, he was very
Yeah,
keen
like
to
he wouldn't
everyone's
describe
weight.
their. Yeah, he wouldn't like describe like, oh, their face shape or their eyes or like if they had a big nose or not. It was always like she's slightly chunky or like whatever. It was always
Yeah.
their weight. Do you know what I think that is? I think it's because I think it's both his biggest insecurity, so he projects it a lot, but I also think it's the main thing he looks for in a person. That's the first thing he notices.
Yes, I completely agree, and I think it's also, as you're saying, it's one of his big triggers. Like, I mean, he'll get more upset about being called fat than he does being called a pedophile. So he wants to really focus on that, and you know that if he's calling people a slight chunky or if he's calling people overweight, he's not, and that's why he can, look down on them, because he is smoking. Yeah.
Well, obviously, look at him. All of the ham cubes that he eats they're all flame broiled. So.
And look, given you are such a massive fan of this book, if you can, did you have a least favorite moment?
I really didn't like whenever he like first came home and he's talking to everybody, because of his interactions. They were just like so boring. It wasn't like actively bad. It dragged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ill, what do you?
I
what do
think
you
that
wanna-
was the worst
What do you
for me.
want to ask?
It dragged. McNuggets, did you even listen along? That was the most action-packed part of the book. He went
And
to
it
his
still
friend's house
dragged.
and they peeled potatoes.
Yeah, but
You
he
don't know
peeled
what
potatoes
makes a
for, like,
good book
5
good. It's
days.
peeling potatoes.
He should have written a guidebook on how to peel potatoes.
Oh,
He
that
should.
would've been great.
That would have been, and that segues right into the next question: is how would you have changed this book? And that's probably a good point. It should have been a guide on how to peel potatoes.
Well, either that or it should have just been like a book of his favorite like foods. I don't even know if he could do the recipes, but he could just like should have been a food diary.
It should have been. Well, because that was the most mentioned thing. Talk about ham cubes and mashed potato, which is still one of the weirdest things I've heard of. Now, I'm sorry if that's anyone's family tradition, but that sounds horrible to me. I don't.
Watch what you
closest
say,
thing-
Cornville.
The closest thing I've ever eaten to mashed potatoes and ham cubes is like mac and cheese with like hot dog bits in it. Like that's what you give like a 3-year-old, you know?
Exactly.
It just feels like little kid food. Which I mean, he likes little kids. It's fitting.
Boo!
Oh my god.
But that's
Roasted.
exactly right. That's probably what he. When he got Kayla back to his shithole, I don't know what he had planned for her to eat because he didn't have enough money to go there and back and there and back again. But it was probably going to be that kind of shit.
It would have been like.
Only.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. Sorry.
No.
I was just gonna say it probably would have been like a singular bologna sandwich.
Exactly. Because it's funny they joke about pizza and that, but you're not affording pizza, Lorne. That's not happening. It'd just be like, this is how we, like you say, it'd be a bologna sandwich. Like, this is how we have pizza in Cornville.
Pizza and cornfield is just a bologna sandwich.
Yep.
It's a slice of bread, and then there's bologna on top of it, and then they like get shredded cheese, and they pop it in the microwave.
Exactly, it's a Cornville.
Good on you,
Cornville
Big
pizza.
Bad Guru. Just made an excellent point. I'd like to point McNuggets' attention at, and Cornville's, honestly.
Oh, is it the monotone Mandy?
Yep.
Bingo.
Well,
Great point, Guru. 3 claps for you.
who is this monotone Mandy you have on Cornville? So boring. You should have Jessie on. You should bring Jessie on.
Great point.
I don't
Get her
think so.
thoughts on Taken Abroad.
I
Well,
think I could call up Jeroen and maybe
maybe we could get them both on.
get him on the horn.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
I think
You know-
the next time Jeroen talks to Jesse, you should say, "Hey, check out this playlist on Taken Abroad. I think you'd really enjoy it, and you could jump
Well-
on."
You know what? I've been trying to put the pieces together, and I think I've kind of cracked the code. I think that Eel has been a Jeroen alt this whole time.
Wow.
Oh my god, I have to get out of here. Quick, shut the stream down. I'm caught. Yeah.
Yeah.
How fast can you run away in your golden heels?
I've had much practice, Evil Little McNuggets. So
You're the
pretty-
real
pretty damn
person
fast.
behind During Comedy Mirror Channel, aren't you?
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say
but-
anything that could incriminate me.
What would you change the title to?
Oh God. Okay, let me think.
M cube.
It would have to-
potato.
You know what? That's a good one. I'm gonna plagiarize that. That'll
what
be
did you say,
that'll
Ian?
be the title for my thesis.
M cubes and potatoes.
The book.
Book.
One thing that I did want to mention is like, I wonder how much of this book is related to people in prison. Like, we know that he had people read it and he used names and stuff, but like, I wonder if there were any scenes or ideas that came to Lauren that were from people in jail that were reading his story.
Oh yeah.
We know he's not creative at all, so I would venture to guess, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Like,
point.
what if the potato peeling part was all from a buddy of his in prison?
Derek
Somebody
buddy
quote
in
unquote peeled his potatoes.
prison.
Yeah, some Nazi illustrator.
Just sitting there peeling
I-
potatoes all day, like that is perfect.
Can you believe that he got a Nazi to illustrate his book about a dead cat?
I as silly as it sounds, I can believe that because that is something Lorne would do. Like, he
It's just crazy enough to work.
yeah, and like, but I mean,
Pedophile's children book edited by a Nazi or
well,
withdrawn by
that's
a
exactly the
Nazi.
point. I mean, that's what I find crazy is that he wrote a children's book. I mean, this guy cannot read the room. Like,
Free.
it never stops to blow him. Like, between that and talking about being how upset that he can't, donate to St. Jude's and talking to fucking Jamie about how, they would adopt a baby if, like, Lord, like, you're a fucking pedophile. Like, no.
Do you know how hard it is for like regular people to adopt?
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Like, what? Like,
Lawrence
what is he?
not a regular person.
Like,
He's the
That's
biggest
true.
thing on
He is
NBC.
He's extraordinary.
like, can you imagine even
That's
just
right.
filling out the form, the initial forms to adopt a baby, where I'm sure one of the questions is saying, similar to the effects of, have you had any criminal charges? Have you had any sex offenders? You're just going to be like, yeah, but I never meant to do it. Like, what? How is this going to work?
Well, as long as the kid doesn't try to entice him by, talking to him, then he should be fine.
Well,
Hey.
that's a good point. Like,
Cool.
it's like, damn it, they're doing it again.
Flirting with me.
Exactly.
And it's just like, hey dad, can I like go outside?
It's
The
like,
fucking bitch.
you fucking bitch, you know what that does to me. Oh my
Vexy
God.
just made a funny comment. He thinks you can just pick one up from a box at Walmart. One time, I have a little sister, and I went to her middle school to pick her up, and I got in because some kids were coming out, and a teacher stopped me, and they were like, "Can I help you find something?" And I was like, "No, I'm just looking around." And I thought I was
my
gonna get
God.
arrested after that.
I'm just checking it out.
Oh my fucking
I'm
word.
just checking out the middle school.
So we've got someone else that wants to jump on with us. I'm just going to add them into the call. So
If it's with Bish, I'm
I know who
leaving.
it is.
oh, this might be disappointing for you, Nugs. Entertain Eel while I try to figure out Skype.
Okay, Nuggets, I'm enjoying your streams on various lolcows. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm learning
Thank
a lot.
you.
None of it useful, but I am learning a lot.
I've been having a lot of fun. The Jessie stuff has been a lot of fun. And she has been up to so much shit lately.
Yeah,
She
I kind of dipped out of it this past weekend, but
well, yeah, because
what's
you
been
ghosted
going
her.
on since Monday?
Oh wow, that video of her talking to Jeroen. Oh my god. He sounds a lot like you, but he's got a bit of a Boston accent going on.
Oh, really? Okay. Can you do a Boston accent?
I cannot. You heard the
Come
one
on,
and
Nuggies,
only
let's
impression
try.
I can do the other night whenever Wes just, left me all alone on stream.
Right, yeah, you do the eel Reerg, or the
Yeah.
the league rear, and
Or
what was the other one that you do?
I can do a little bit of Paul, like a oh grandpa, show me your nipples. That's
Oh
about
my
it.
god.
That's all I got.
So
That's
g'day.
better than any impression. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say g'day, Winnie's boyfriend / husband, fresh off his little Q&A.
Oh, fuck.
Oh man, Lauren writing a kid's book. That's like you'll read writing a book about how to lose your virginity. Am I right?
Burn. Got him.
Now, just out of curiosity, how would you write that book when his boyfriend / husband? I'm just curious. I don't have pen and paper here. I'm wondering.
He would
I'll
have
send
to,
you a few videos.
He would have
Just
to go
get
back to the
bitches.
time
Right.
before his ED kicked in to really explain
That's
that
right. Yeah.
one. Back when he was 17.
Oh damn. that was
Anyway, back to
so
the book that
harsh.
was written by Lauren that we're talking about.
So,
I think Lauren has ED.
what do you think Lorne's done?
I said I think he has ED. I was trying to tie in
Oh,
the topic.
100% he's got ED. I mean, when you're that excited that it's literally standing up on its own, that is not a common occurrence.
Come get
His
your dinner,
nuzlocke isn't getting
Berber.
hard anymore.
And just speaking of that, I was listening to that one of the more recent robot calls that Heelborn put up, where he's talking about how he's hard on, but he says so, I can't remember what he said, but it was so bizarre. It was like it's hard and flopping around. Like it can't be both, Lord. Like it can't be both. Like what do you mean?
I mean, there's stages to it.
Well, yeah.
Lauren is a man of many talents.
Yes, but I took it to mean that he was, like, not Sam. Why did I bring this up? How did we get here? Talking about stages
I mean, there is a
of
sex.
erection.
Oh, that you know what? That's actually my favorite part of the book is when they have sex for the second time, and that's when they describe it.
That is a very good point. I mean, why?
Creamy center.
Why was it the second time that went into full description? Like the first time was just like, and they had sex or something to that effect. That's probably more well put together than Lorne wrote it. But the second time we get all that, and that sex scene, my fucking god.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking word.
Clavicle licking and vagina punching. It's got it all.
The core, sticking it in the core.
Oh my god, the core. That's straight out of some Wattpad. Well, I mean, he did say that he had been like reading erotic fiction while in prison.
Did he? Oh,
So it makes sense. Yes.
Really? He was
yeah,
in
he's
prison
was
reading
just children's
erotic
books,
fiction.
Nuggets.
Well, those romance novels, like it's written porn. That's all they are.
Yep. How
So he's
weird.
He's out there reading about like, Western Romeo on a horse and stuff, and then they, stuff happens. There's cores and expelling dampness, and he just kind of copied and pasted.
This stuff is gold. So what is your favorite moment, Slash?
My favorite moment isn't anything Lauren wrote. It's when Reerg improvised the "Can he still finger me?" moment. That's literally what I think about probably every day.
That was very good. I hate to compliment Eel.
That's my favorite moment too.
Because it was just said so well, like he was
nonchalantly, like you were reading
like
it.
He was reading what it was written. And I had to, because I was reading along as well, and I had to double check. Holy fuck, did Lorne actually say that?
Because it is something that Lorne would say. Like you could believe it.
It's something that Lorne would have a woman say in his terrible book.
The only unrealistic thing about it is that the phalange you decided to go with was finger. I think toe would have been more accurate.
Oh.
Can he still toe me?
He gave Lorne the toe me eyes. And,
I know what that means.
But I would probably say my favorite would be when the woman, the one woman that he's going to murder, and she's awake and he's just digging her grave, and it's like his emotions change just on a dime constantly. Like he just writes it so weird. It's never anything but surface deep with Lorne. He thinks he's being deep.
Yeah.
But he's just writing like, and then he felt sorry for that he had to kill her, and then he hated her and he had to kill her. Like it's just nothing.
Realize.
Was that a passage from the book?
Yeah, and then
he
really
felt
managed
hungry
to capture his
and he had
voice.
to kill her.
Yeah, and then like at the end, when the climax happens, there's like 4 sentences after the climax, and then the book is over. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then all the victims and the murderer share a funeral together. Where would that happen?
Exactly. Like, and I mean, that is like going back to the murder of Amanda James, who by the way is not here, so I'm not sure how we actually managed to start this stream. Is that the whole thing around, she felt sorry for him. Like, like that is so. I find that so ridiculous and borderline offensive that he's trying to say
Yeah.
this murder victim who is to be murder victim who's just told you about their child that they're never going to see again is all of a sudden switched from that to thinking this poor man, he's in such a messed up way. He's so messed up at the time that he needs to kill me and murder him. I'm actually not that concerned about dying because at least I'm not this poor guy. Which to be fair, with Lorne, there's probably not an insane reaction like to look at Lorne and go, I would rather die than be you. That's probably fairly sane.
Absolutely.
I do have a question. Was there a moment where he decided that he wanted to use a piccolo on a victim in the book?
No,
Yeah,
it was
it was
a
when he
pickle
was murdering the
McNuggets.
woman near the beach. He grabbed his
Oh, yeah, okay.
Dildo beach.
Oh, yes, correct.
It was a dildo beach, I
Dildo
think
beach
is what it
with-
was.
It was a rented piccolo. I had to take it back.
His alias during that murder was Theo.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Someone called him fat, so he had to send him nudes to prove he was.
Well, no, see, that's how Lorne got in trouble because Kayla called him fat.
You figured it out, Nuggies. That's how this.
Oh my god, Detective Nuggies.
That's how it all started. He was just going to have a normal conversation with a 13-year-old just because no one was talking to her. And then, she was like, well, I don't really want to talk to you, fatty. And he's like, well, fucking hell. Look what you made me do.
This is all your fault. He's like, well, now I have to show you Mr. Penis because he's not fat either.
And I was just reading, I think we might have a look at some of these reviews in a second, but I was just reading like the synopsis on Books A Million there, and I'm still laughing at the way he wrote Brooke without an E. Like, I've never seen the woman's name Brooke spelt without an E. Like, that's how you spell
Maybe he was
the
like,
stream.
maybe
Well,
Maybe he
I've
was so
seen it because I
crazy
knew
he
a girl
married
named
a
Brooklyn
stream.
when I was little, and they spelled it without an E.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
Yeah, but that would be a nickname, though. Wouldn't it, though?
Okay, well,
You-
is Nugs my real
the
name?
Brooke that she knew, /
Well, if the name was Brooklyn and they went by Brooke, then it's a nickname. You kind of spell it whatever way you want. But Cornval, I've never seen anybody whose name is just Brooke without an E.
Well, we don't know that her name wasn't Brooklyn because Lorne didn't even take the time to tell us his mother's name. Brooke could have just been a nickname the whole time.
Well, then
his mom's name is Lauren's mom. It's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah,
Well, she
it's
named
just
Lauren
Lauren's-
after herself.
Oh, okay.
first name
Worked out
Lord,
really
last
well.
name Mum. From the famous Mum tribe of
See, that's what they
Cornwall.
would have named the little girl. It wouldn't have been Hannah. It would have been Lorne's mom.
Oh, genius.
We named her after you. What, Gwendolyn? No, Mum.
Mom.
Mum. I don't think I've asked you. I might have asked you already, Nuggies, but what would you rename the book / and Nuggies if you haven't already answered?
Well, I couldn't think of one, so Eel answered for me.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that now. Oh.
It would probably be
Oh no, we broke Cornville.
that is my favorite thing that you do. Is that no?
what my stuttering mini syllable.
Yes.
It's really good.
Pretty good.
It's really good.
It'd probably be like, so it's taken abroad. And actually, do you remember what the original name of the book was per the prison letters, Cornville?
No, I don't.
It was just originally called Taken. There was no abroad. He just called it Taken.
Oh, somebody told him
That
it was
fucker
also a
Liam
movie.
Neeson stole
He's like,
that.
Right.
"Alright, I can change it."
He named it after a movie. But I guess it would probably be, I don't know. He probably could have named it like 1 star and we could have all moved on. We
Yep.
didn't have to read it.
And
Well, no, it would have been 2.1 stars.
2.1 stars. That's right.
And having heard that, I do love that he was going to call it Taken. Like, here's a very special set of skills. How to delete
'Cause
your
that- but
archives
that-
and
that
to go
would've been
invisible
in-
so Jesse can't see you.
When did that movie come out? Oh yeah, 2008. So he would have written the bulk of those letters and the book in 2008. So he named it after a movie that came
my
out the
God.
same year.
It's probably just playing
Do
in the
you-
background.
Do you know what I love about Taken Abroad? The title itself is like referencing a very small portion of the book.
Right.
It feels like when a
Like the first
song
third.
is titled after just some random lyric that's like not in the chorus. It makes no sense in relation to the rest of the song. And it's like impossible to find because you don't know what
I
the
was
title
gonna-
is.
I was gonna bring that up when Cornwall asked to rename it, because I was like, well, Taken Abroad, it's like the first 3 pages. Like, it's nothing. Like, it should be called, the
Left Abroad
the,
would be a better title.
It should be called the 9-fingered killer or something like that. Like, that would make
Yeah.
more sense.
Well, and that's the thing, because that was such a small part of the whole book. Like, and that was the other thing with the book. He couldn't decide really what he wanted it to be. Did he want it to be, a romantic comedy or a romance novel? Did he want it to be a thriller? And it at the end of the day, it was nothing. Like,
It was a
It-
literary masterpiece.
It would be
Damn
like if
huge.
J.R.R. Tolkien named The Lord of the Rings The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. Like, it's like, yeah, that's like 3 pages of the book. Like, that you're burying the lead of what your book is about.
exactly.
God, you're such a nerd.
Can you kick Nuggets off this call, please?
Never.
That's
No,
your nuts
listen,
lock
I'm your
doing
favorite
corner,
aggressive child.
Slash.
So, should we?
You have to have been born. The number of the year has to start with 1 for you to be on this call. Bye, Nuggets. Get out of here.
Oh my fucking word.
Oh my fucking word.
I'm a 20-year-old child.
Fuck you.
So let's have a look at a few of these reviews, shall we? So, Yell at Me, Why Don't Ya? Said, book was missing page 87. Never bought book before, but was written in crayon. Got a great deal on the book at the Ridge Road 10-mile yard sale. And that was submitted 1 month ago by Rod from Cornel.
Fucking Rod.
Cornel, M-E? I don't know where that is.
It seems like they accidentally put E instead of V. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
Cornel.
Cornel
Well,
from
E
Cornel.
is right next to a V on the keyboard.
It
That's
is.
true.
It is. So great read. Easy to get into this military story. This is a great, easy to read and finish book on the world of being taken abroad in the military. It's a fun story of the transformation of a boy into a man. I highly recommend to anyone. And that was from Winnie
By
Pooh.
Winnie Poop.
Tub Dumper
Right,
9000.
1 star.
For 9,000.
Not good. This book is as thick as a telephone book. Submitted by Chris in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I wonder if Dan left a review.
That rings a bell.
I do wonder that as well. 1 star. Book was horrible. Book was horrible. Seemed like a work of a 13-year-old in school. Oddly enough, the age the author prefers.
Jesus Christ. It has 38 upvotes.
That is amazing. Submitted 1 year ago by Jimmy DeMoney from Church of Cod. 1 star. Maybe a kiss or two. A whole lot of nothing. What's wrong with that? It's a question. From Jeff Stacy in Lebanon, Ohio. Can you
Do
guys
you
see
want
this?
to suck
this
my
script?
Lebanon?
Bookworm.
Do you guys want to read
Where
a
are
few?
you from? Lebanon?
Lebanon. Cincy.
Lebanon?
I love how like Chris can't understand him, so eventually he's just like Cincy.
Sorry.
Did you guys want to read some of them?
Yeah, make Wabish read one.
Well, yell at me, why don't you? He could be the next Mario Puzo, but has a way to go. By Not a Whole Lot from Florida. 2 stars.
Not a whole lot.
Eel
Okay.
or Nuggies?
Go ahead, Nuggies.
It doesn't matter. Oh, I can. All right. Oh God, a mockery of writing and humanity as a whole, written by an author so desperate to be something other than the face of Bowling Green, submitted by Garbage Bracelet from Maine.
And that is so accurate. Like, that is a big, I reckon that it was a big reason why he wrote this shit. Pure garbage, 1 star. As a veteran of OIF, OEF, yes, there is no Iraqi war. This trash pile makes a mockery of those who actually served. Poorly written, impossible to follow, incoherent gibberish throughout. Rather than paying money for this, why not put it to better use and burn it, bury it, flush it, etc. From our very own after supper biscuit.
Oh wow!
From Cornville.
Hey, look at that.
Love it.
1 star. Cod awful. It's like it's written for children. My Codfather. Again, it's someone else from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Wow.
There is a lot of
okay.
people in Bowling Green
Fancy that.
love Books A Million.
Oh my cod. Oh my cod by Oh my cod. 5 stars.
This is a very in-depth review.
Okay, 1 star. Will you give my 1-star review a kiss? This is the most cliche piece of garbage you could have created. There is not a new concept or idea brought to the table. It's just creepy. The Great Batsby on YouTube, check her out, says Lorne has no idea what real romance is, so he sounds like a Hallmark card whenever he tries to be romantic. I guess she was right about novels, about the Iraq War and PTSD too. Lorne, stop trying to capitalise on your fame as a convicted sexual predator and try to genuinely better yourself. It will start with you being honest about your crimes, not blaming anyone else other than yourself, but that is very unlikely. Don't support a child predator by buying this book. By The Great Batsby. No, by DJ in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
The
1
Great
star.
Gatsby is my favorite book.
Derek?
Derek. 1 star. Dumb. It's dumb. Submitted by AT from the US.
Valid.
Nuggies.
Read
Ooh,
it
can
for
I-
the
Read
lulz.
it for the lulz.
What? Sorry.
You go, seeing you halfway through it.
Read it for the lulz. What in Cod's name was Lorne thinking when he wrote this? It would have been better if it were Aaron met Brooke. He said, "Hey, girl," by Kayla.
That would have been better.
Girl.
Written by Kayla. Kayla.
Good good
Kayla
input,
from
Kayla.
Bowling Green.
Kayla couldn't have.
She doesn't know if she
have
has a
left that
garage,
review.
but she knows good literature.
She does.
Well, no, she didn't write that review because there was no K and no cool.
Well, that is very true. This book sucks, Kay. 1 star.
This book is buggy.
This book is buggy.
Mrs. Armstrong from Kentucky.
I just found out I have a garage.
Oh,
Not
is
a
this
great
Allison?
read. The book is cute though. Built good. Maybe it is Allison. Good review, Allison.
Okay. Next one is a great review, so I want to read this one. Okay, 5 stars.
Great read. I first
found the
found
author,
that.
Lord
Sorry,
Armstrong.
just fucking with you.
Go fuck
Excuse me. I was talking. Boot him right now. He cut in on my. This is my moment to shine, and he cut in on it.
Eel's being a glory hunter, guys. Giving me
That's right.
stage.
I first found the author Lauren Armstrong after having health issues and not being able to find good, detailed vegan recipes on the internet. Lauren A. had some of the most awesome vegan recipes I'd ever found. Lauren breaks down the steps and makes it easy for a novice chef like myself to follow. I then went on to find out that the author also has an amazing talent for covering country and Western golden oldies and writes beautiful romantic poetry as well. The book definitely did not disappoint, and page by page was up to par with his other tremendous talents found on his YouTube channel. I was pulled into the captivating story right from the very start, those words capitalized for some reason, and felt as if I was face to face with each character. 41 upvotes, 100 downvotes by Shane S. from North Georgia. Great review. I
like that
agree with that
review.
one more than all of them.
That was mine.
That was yours?
Oh, I
Yeah, because I love
share
this
many
book.
of the same sentiments on this book.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the title of this one.
All right, Nuggies, you take this one.
Okay. How was the read? Terrible. Actually, no, it was all right. It's important. It's important to not read this book as a poorly written fictional story. It should be interpreted as a psychological profile of the author himself. It's a thinly veiled semi-autobiography with a bunch of plot holes filled with baseline knowledge that the author has gotten from watching TV, PTSD, combat, marriage. And the rest is just his dark, repressed, perverse thoughts and urges. I recommend it, but not a whole lot. By Bowling Green from Kentucky.
Bowling Green.
That is nowhere near enough upvotes for that review. That is fantastic.
That's
I'm
probably
gonna give it one.
Bowling Green. Do you think that that's in like Vietnam or maybe China or something? It's probably an Asian place. It also says Kentucky. So do you think this person lives in Kentucky? That's what he
would want to
reaches
know
quite
their
a large
ethnicity,
audience.
Jeroen.
Yeah.
I read it as a book, separate from the author. My friend sent me this book knowing it was part of the cult following of TCAP, especially the Church of Cod. So I was very excited to read this. I wanted to see if Lorne was actually a good author. There are plenty of good authors who are terrible people. I wanted to see if Lorne was one. Spoiler alert, he's not. This book has terrible pacing. It feels like it's dragging. I find myself thinking of my own boredom than I did the characters. Overall, not written all that well. So not only is Lorne not a good person, but he doesn't seem to be good at anything else. Jackson in New York. Thank you,
Surprise,
Jackson.
surprise, Lauren's a shitty writer.
Oh. Excellent book, well written. A well written book with a captivating storyline. Fictional narrative, but could just as well be a real life scenario for somebody who really does feel like the story was written about their own situation in life. It really is a book worth reading. Noah Webster's Nemesis. What?
150 downvotes. Boom, Noah.
Maybe that was somebody he was in prison with or something. He got him to write a review.
It was the Nazi illustrator.
The real question is who's Noah Webster? Because whoever this is their nemesis. So if we find Noah Webster, we can find this person.
It's Miriam's husband.
Oh, okay.
5 stars.
I
See what
enjoyed
I
it.
did there?
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
we got it.
I really enjoyed this book. A lot of people giving it low ratings have never read the book. They are just mouthing off because the author's passed. More details, prose, engaging characters, suspenseful, well written. Best for a gift.
Oh, shit.
Written by Lynn.
Lynn?
In Kentucky.
A gift? Lynn. Sweetheart, what are you doing?
Isn't Lynn like his sister-in-law or something?
No, it's his middle name, dickhead.
Well, no.
He just dropped his laptop because you insulted him. God.
I dropped my phone out of my hand. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, no. Lynn is his middle name, but he also talks about a Lynn.
Does he?
Does he?
Yeah, it's his middle name. I don't know if you know this, Slash, but it's Lorne Lynn Armstrong.
Yeah, but he talks about a Lynn. I swear he brings up Lynn is like somebody's wife or something.
Okay, Jesse.
Listen, I
sure?
know about 85% of porn.
I know 85% of Lornography. I've just never seen the original Sting footage.
Or have I listened to any of the calls?
Oh, amazing.
Just watch the Predator Chronicles.
Danknet where it's at. So that's all the reviews.
Those were great.
Does Books A Million tell you how many have been sold or anything? Because I'd love to know that.
I think Lauren said at one point
I think it's got to be less
3
than
copies
10.
have been sold.
How many? 3?
I think he said
I thought
3 at one point, but
I thought
his
it was
mom
6.
probably got
I've
one
heard
on Sharon.
3 too. At one point it was 3, but
Yeah.
because somebody bought it and then just made a PDF version and put it online.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. So probably coming towards the end here. Did you guys have any kind of final thoughts on?
Whoa! Hang on. Zachary Stanford just backed me up. Lynn is Elton's wife. Okay, so I wasn't wrong.
Zachary, what the fuck?
spelled double N.
Yeah, that's the name Lynn.
There's different ways to spell Lynn.
I didn't doubt you for a second, Slash.
Thank you. But I remember Lauren saying that Lynn drove his van home at one point.
Okay.
He
But
drove
no,
his
I
own van
have
home.
nothing else to add, so you can boot me if you'd like.
Okay, bye. You gotta throw up.
He's gonna go throw up.
He's gonna go.
Yep. That is the greatest sign off in the history of this entire thing. Okay, I'm gonna go throw up. Bye.
This is my favorite. I also like not like I think people have seen me like leave it a couple places and they don't get it because the chat log hasn't been released. But at one point in Wes's chat with Jessie, she just starts like being gross and weird and sexual, and she leaves like this wall of text, and all Wes replies in response is, "I just made dinner," and that's my favorite thing. I just made dinner. It's like good and you. You just respond when somebody tells you a bunch of stuff.
Well, that's what
Right.
that chat log that he, I can't remember where I saw it, but like it's just like walls of text from her all the time and little like zero answers, but doesn't pick up the hint that this person's not engaging. Like they don't want to really talk to you.
It's specifically the person says, "Stop doing this," and
Yeah.
she doesn't.
We're on a break.
Well, as I established with Jessie, people like her and Jeroen, they don't stop when people say stop and don't and no.
Yeah, well,
They keep
well,
going until
Yeah,
they
they're
get what they want.
alphas.
That's right. I mean,
Exactly.
she sent breed pics and they said to stop. They didn't say stop pussy pics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's their fault, really.
You should be a lawyer.
When people don't want to be sexually harassed, they just really need to be specific with Jessie. Like most people, yes,
Jesus.
you can say, "I didn't ask for these. Please don't send them again." But with Jessie, you really need to be like, "I also don't want to see your feet or your pussy, or I don't want to hear about your pussy butterflies. I don't want to see your face, your arms, your legs." You know, really nail into that.
Well, see, what happened originally was Wes said, "Hey, stop sending me nudes. I don't want them." And she did that because she kept sending pictures of her breeds, but she was in a dress, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's different. You know, they weren't uncovered breeds. Like, you know, that's...
Well, no, they were uncovered. It's just she was wearing a dress at the time.
Oh, okay.
And like Vexy says, you know, please stop doing this. Okay, I'll talk to you next week. Where it'll be fine next week.
I think Jessie and Lauren would make a great power couple.
Like, stop sending it doesn't mean stop forever. It just means give me a quick break here, and then you can barrage me with your tits again.
Well, see, it's like whenever Lauren asked Kayla if he wanted, like, she wanted him to stop, and she said yes, and he was like, you know, not sexual for 10 minutes.
Exactly. But in that time, they did talk about, you know, what they'll name their kid when she gets pregnant. Like, you know what I mean? So.
Well, see, that's why he got horny again.
More children. It's like a self-feedback loop for him. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, that is. I mean, Lord isn't really concerned about what the other person's saying. He just wants someone there to just echo, just to kind of be on the receiving end of himself.
You just
that sounds like a lot of our conversations, Cornville.
True. That is true.
My conversations with Cornville are just pictures of cats.
They are. just no words, just cats.
Yeah, anytime you like send me anything that's like not a picture, I get really mad.
Exactly. You don't think I know what that means, Winnie? You're sending them pussy pictures.
Yeah, but it's Taco, so it's fine.
Taco is very cute.
I mean, I haven't gotten a picture of Taco in a while, but it's fine.
Yeah, you don't deserve it. You already got a bunch of animals at home.
You don't deserve it.
You've got more than enough animals.
I have a couple of snakes in my yard that Taco can come take care of.
Okay, I'll bring them over tomorrow. But you got to give me a ladder in return.
We are broken up.
You gotta earn that ladder.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
And there is a shortage.
Well,
there is a shortage of
there's a shortage, and I got to clean my gutters. I have like none of my chairs have wheels on them, but they're not tall enough.
G'day. We just read your. Well, I'm assuming it was you after supper biscuit. We just read your review on this masterpiece on Books a Million, which was
Yeah.
very funny. All right,
Oh my
guys,
God, is that Kayla on the book?
That is. So Asbury Brad did this before. So that is Kayla on the front of Taken Abroad.
I love that.
Oh my god, I didn't notice that.
So any final thoughts, everyone?
I'm gonna throw up. Bye.
We should have burned this book.
We should have burnt this book. That's what should have been the first and only stream of this. Should have just been a ritual.
That's right.
Burning of this book. But apparently you can't buy it anymore, so we would have lucked out there anyway. Just print it out and burn it. So yeah, guys. So thank you very much for everyone that jumped on and shared their thoughts. I thought that was really, really interesting, a lot of fun. So thank you, Triy. Thank you to Triy Tiggy, and thank you to Edam Mame. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you, Eel, for going through this with me. This has been something else.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me go through it with you. It was a ton of fun. It was frustrating, but it was a ton of fun.
No, it was. I agree. I had a lot of fun. So, look, thanks very much, everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being here through the journey. Yeah. So I will see you all again soon, and don't forget to delete your archives.
Sleep well.